welcome to Write This Moment, the podcast where we share our writing journeys through every chaotic moment.
We're your hosts, Peyton
Brittany.
and today we're going to be going through some popular, common writing advice that we have just all heard over the years and our personal hot takes because not all writing advice is good. So it's interesting to see where we may, differ and also feel the same.
hmm I'm
Okay.
excited.
But we both have really exciting updates. If we remember from the last episode, I finished my first draft. So
Yay!
I've been like trucking along with that for so long, and that was a big deal. I did take 2 weeks off from touching it at all, and honestly, I wanted to only do a week, but then I had to do a whole work conference and then I had to go home
Right.
with my parents. My mom had surgery, so like there was just no time to even touch it really. And I think it was probably for the best to have like a full 2 weeks just
Mhm.
not thinking about it. And then I just finished last night reading through the draft. And, it's not a very long draft. It was like 59,000 words about, which is, over 200 pages
Mhm.
for my Google Doc because I did end up putting it into Google Docs, and the way that I went through it was in the past, I would be so focused on the line level stuff, and that's just not important right now.
No, it's not.
Like, it irks your little soul though. Like, I wanted so bad to fix like so many things. My
hmm
cat's crying. It's okay.
Sadness.
She needs to stay
Hmm.
in here. But yeah, the line level stuff irked my soul, but I didn't touch it at all.
I'm proud of you.
I just used the comment thing to point out all the inconsistencies in like the plot. So there's a
hmm
lot of those. There's a lot of those because, there's just one, two timelines really, because characters from the past, like a lot of shit went down in the past. And then we got obviously the present day timeline, and there's a mystery. There's dead bodies everywhere. Who did it? So there's just so many red herrings that I want to like perfectly place.
hmm
And like I said, this draft is like on the shorter end for what I have done in the past. So a lot of the work that I need to do is actually beef up the book. And what I wanted to do was read through it, find inconsistencies, and find all the places where I could possibly add all of these new scenes because I do have a lot of ideas that came to me as I wrapped up the book, and I have even more ideas that came to me while reading through the draft. And I'm overwhelmed. I'm finally overwhelmed. Like, I've been very positive about this in a
hmm
way that I haven't been in the past. And I will say, it took longer for me to reach this state of being overwhelmed. And I feel like it's a normal feeling, you
Oh,
know,
absolutely. Yeah.
especially at this point when you have the thing, you read through it, and you're
hmm
like, oh shit, there's a lot of things wrong with this. Like,
Yeah.
now I have to construct like a solid plan on how to fix it.
Yeah.
And as someone like me who does not successfully utilize an outline like ever, like I just can't do it. Even though I really tried this time,
You
like this
did.
is this is the hardest I've ever tried with that.
hmm
And I still went and did my own thing, and that leaves me with a lot of scenes that end up being irrelevant, but I have some things to say about that because a lot of these scenes that like in my head I knew were gonna be weird and like don't really work anymore.
hmm
I was finding nuggets of things. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, this interaction, like this would work better here. Like there was things in those moments that could be repurposed.
hmm
So I was excited to see that because it is unfortunate to feel like, oh my gosh, I just have to delete a bunch of different scenes. But there was things there. They just have to be modified. And
hmm
some of it, like, it's interesting. Some of it was stuff at the very end of the book. And I'm like, oh my God, actually, these characters need to talk about this like at the beginning.
hmm
Like, this would have been way more interesting. And then a lot of things of just like, let the reader work for it. Like I'm being too on the nose at times. And I feel like
Mm,
that was just me word vomiting, like getting all my thoughts out. But
yeah.
I think taking those things away and letting them make those conclusions themselves is just a lot more satisfying in general as a
Yeah.
reader.
Well, first
So,
drafts are really just you telling yourself the story,
yeah.
right? And you figuring things out. So I think that that's completely normal to like just word vomit and put everything out on the page and then to later realize that like you can scale it back a little bit because now
Yeah.
you know the story, so now you have to like present it to the readers a bit differently. I think that makes sense.
That was part of the complicated nature of writing something like a mystery
Mm,
because I was still trying to figure out all of the ins and outs of the mystery itself. Like I knew the very big things about it, but there's just a lot of different investigative scenes that need to happen.
yeah.
I'm reading through it. I'm like, why did they not go talk to this person? Like, if I was a amateur sleuth, like I would be asking these people some questions. Like, I just didn't do that. And it's kind of crazy because this book, like right now, it's kind of fast paced. Like I literally was just jumping to all the action moments. I'm gonna have to actually add in some just nice, like every scene has its purpose. Like I
Hmm.
don't want to have scenes that are like not there for a reason, but like to develop some of these
Yeah.
character relationships, like I really got to take the time to do those things because
Yeah.
we were like dead body. Oh my God, let's go over here and figure this out.
Hmm. You need to give
It
them
was
breather moments.
exactly because I literally just felt like my side plot romance just came out of nowhere. Some of these friendships, like they were rekindled friendships. They knew each other growing up, haven't seen each other in years. And like there's betrayals there. So I don't feel like we would
Mm,
have gotten over it as quickly. So there's
hmm.
just a lot to work on. I wanted to mention I've been using this book, How to Write a
Ooh.
Mystery, a handbook from Mystery Writers of America. And on the back, it lists a bunch of pretty famous like mystery and thriller writers.
Hmm.
And I just found this in my search because, like I said, I've never written something with a mystery, and my book is a paranormal horror. But there's just a lot of genre bending in general, and this book talks about that. It goes over like all the different like genre mysteries. It even did talk about like paranormal stuff, so I was like, that's super useful. There's so many different types that have all of their own like different tropes that typically go with it. So it was super useful. And there was something interesting here because when you think of a mystery, you're like, oh, the plot has to be planned out so perfectly. How does this work for a person who can't outline? You
Hmm.
know? And right here, someone who edited this is Lee Child, who's like, I've never read his books, but the old people love Lee Child. They
Hmm.
love him. They're always buying his books. And what
Hmm.
I found interesting about him is he had a chapter about how he doesn't outline and why you shouldn't. And then there was another chapter from another author that was like, this is why you have to outline. So they had all different types of interesting perspectives in here. And those were the things that I read. I was like jumping around because the index is crazy. Like there's just so much here. Like literally, if you need help, this was interesting just to like, I don't know, I felt a little bit better and I'm like, I can tackle this. I could do it.
You
So
can do it. I'm so excited.
that's like the general update. So I really, where I'm going from now is obviously I just read it. I made those notes. I'm gonna go through the notes, and what I'm doing now is making a new outline of what everything actually is, and then everything that needs to be added. So then I'll start tackling, the new scenes, and then obviously the scenes that need to be tweaked or like things that need to be moved. So that's the general plan, and I'm gonna be jumping in like immediately.
I'm so excited because the sooner you get this done, the sooner I can read it.
I know, and this is like probably the most important like version of this draft because we're taking it from, oh, this makes no sense to anybody but Peyton, and now we're gonna put it in a way that someone else could read it. It might not be pretty.
Hmm.
Like the lines, there's some cringy lines in here. Um, but there's gonna be a story. So I'm super excited for it to make sense. And hopefully draft three, I can like, make some of the lines better.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll be able to send it to you because I think I'll need help.
And I'm here to help. I'm so happy.
Thank you. Yeah, I need opinions. Like, I will be needing that.
And I will be here to give them to you. Is that a pumpkin straw topper?
Hmm.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I love purple and orange for Halloween.
Hmm.
So that's what I got going on right now.
So
Spooky
cute.
season. Yeah, so what's going on with you? I know you have finished some exciting revisions, so we
Yes.
would love to
So,
hear.
my deadline, if you guys have been listening to this podcast, my deadline with my agent to finish my edits was October 10th. And as we are recording this, it is the no, it's the 19th. It's the
It is the
19th.
19th. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
so
shit, I don't even know.
as we're recording this, it is the 19th of October. So I did manage to finish my edits on time. I handed them in on October 10th.
Yay.
Yay. And my agent was like very much so like you don't have to hand these in on time. Like we can extend the deadline. Like she was reading somebody else's book, like editing somebody else's book. So she was like, listen, like I'm not even gonna be able to get to it right away. Like you don't have to finish it. But I love a deadline. I really do.
Yeah,
And I need to stick to those deadlines as closely as I can. Otherwise, there's nothing to keep me in check to get stuff done. So I was like, no, I'm finishing these edits. And I was also just like at my kind of like tipping point. I was like, I need to be done with this book. Like, I love it so much and I'm having such a good time, but I was so tired because I was so locked in and so excited to have an agent and to be working on this book again that I went so hard. Like, I was working almost every single day, even when I was working long shifts, like I was still coming home and like writing. And for some reason, I got like a whole bunch of shifts the 2 weeks leading up to my deadline, and that is so
mm,
abnormal, and I don't know where those shifts came from. I'm so grateful for them, but I had like 9 shifts in those 2 weeks leading up to the deadline, and that's abnormal for me. I normally have like 2 shifts a week, so it was a lot
dang.
to balance, and I was feeling so tired, and I was feeling a little bit burnt out, I guess, and like a little bit creatively drained because I didn't save myself much time to read or to like watch movies or shows or anything like that. Like I did a little bit, but not to like my normal extent. Like I really let reading, especially, fall to the wayside. So since finishing the edits, I've been reading more and like letting myself just sit down for hours
Me
on end and
too.
reading. Yeah, it's been so nice, and I'm
Yeah.
really enjoying that. So I really wanted to get these edits in on time so that I could, start relaxing a little bit and like focusing on other things. Um, so I did manage to finish the edits on time. I sent them to my agent Nikki, and I'm just waiting for her to be able to get to them. I think she should be getting to them in about a week, which is very exciting.
Yay.
And then we will see if I did a good job or not. I hope that I did. I feel like I
I'm sure
did.
you did.
I am so proud of where this book is, and like I was already proud of it, obviously, and I felt like I'd taken it as far as I could on my own. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have queried it. But with the edits and like the suggestions that she had and the extra work that I put in and the ideas that I had while rereading it, I just feel like it came to such a better place. I don't know. I'm so proud of
Okay.
it, and I think it's so much better. And I thought that I would share the word count change
Oh
from the
yeah.
queried draft to the new draft because it it is a change.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I added in so much, and it's mainly from the ending of the book because if you guys watched, the previous episodes, I was adding in a whole bunch of new scenes to the ending. So the original word count of the draft that I queried was 80,376 words. A very decently sized draft. The new word count The new word count is
Oh wow.
87,491 words.
Dang. Lots of new material.
Lots of new material, and I hope that it's all good. I
Yeah,
think it
I'm
is.
sure it's so good. I'm excited to read it.
Yeah, this book is a little bit bigger than I wanted it to be. I didn't really want it to go over 85,000, but I do think it's necessary simply because I do have dual POV. So like a normal book maybe would be a little bit shorter, but I have two POVs that I'm dealing with, which feels like it could naturally run a bit longer because they both need their full story arcs and everything. And then I
Yeah.
also have some like little flashbacks strewn in there as well. So I don't know, it feels like it makes sense, and that ending did need a lot of work, so I'm trying to be okay with it, and hopefully my agent also is okay with it, because it is a little bit on the high end, I feel like, for a YA romance, but here we are, you know?
I feel like you're still so close to 85K.
Yeah,
It's not like you're at 90K. Like you didn't add 10,000. So
yeah.
that would be
Um,
crazy.
I'm satisfied. I think it's okay. So the original timeline that me and my agent discussed while we were on the offer call was potentially going on sub in October. Um, that has changed simply because one, I don't think either of us really took into consideration the wait time period of like nudging other agents with me having an offer. So that kind of cut into time a little bit. And then also, you know, the time of her getting me my edits back and all of that, like all these little logistic things kind of added up. And so with the 6 weeks that it took for me to edit the book, and now we're like gearing up for holiday season, and she still has to get back to me on these edits, and then we have to do like line edits and stuff. It just doesn't really make much sense to go on submission this year, unfortunately. But I would rather like be patient, which is very hard for me, but I'd rather be patient and take that extra time and care with the book and go on submission at the right time. So we're thinking early next year, January,
Yeah.
hopefully. Once publishing kind of wakes up from the holiday stupor that they get
Oh yeah.
into.
Is it like around February that like it gets better? Like
I
I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
'Cause I know the holidays, it's not a good time to
Yeah,
submit anything because
yeah.
everybody's taking off. But I'm like, are they ready to go?
I
January 1st or
I
whatever.
think I think beginning of January is kind of when they're like excited to get back to things because like kind of around Thanksgiving until like the end of December is like them, closing out everything else that they've got going on and like dealing with that instead of bringing on new things. Um, so yeah, I think we're planning January. Let's hope that it happens because I'm antsy and I'm impatient, but I'm also like kind of excited about it because I don't want the excitement of working on this book again, getting an agent, to be tainted by potentially a hard submission process. Like, I don't want this
Yeah.
year and this excitement to be tainted by that. Um, because back in 2021, I started off the year getting into a mentorship program and then a few months later started querying. And then the rest of my year was overshadowed by how awful querying was for me. And it kind of didn't ruin the excitement of getting into the mentorship program, but it did kind of like I didn't focus on how exciting that was before I was like jumping into the querying thing. So I think it's nice for me to just sit in this excitement and this hopefulness, which I'm feeling very hopeful, but also very uh, hesitant to be hopeful just because of past experiences with querying and
Yeah.
stuff. But there's things to be excited about, things to be hopeful for, and I'm kind of glad to just sit in that, enjoy the holiday season, which is my favorite time of the year, and then, start next year and hopefully not have a bad year. That's kind of the
Yeah.
goal.
No, I think that's a good way to look at it. And makes me want to ask, so how are you feeling in regards to like new projects or whatever you're wanting to work on next? I know probably your rom-com that you had that you were originally going to work
Mhm.
on at this time. How
Right.
are you? Are you feeling inspired right now? Or are you having writer's block? Like what's going on
I
after this big
honestly
development?
I honestly have not given it much thought. I'm kind of very much so in my like writing break era. I
Yeah.
know that me and Nikki are planning to kind of go over some pitches of my books once we're like done with these edits and stuff. Either once we're done with these edits or once we go on submission. I can't remember what she said. But we're gonna go over the pitches that I have for all of my projects, and we will go from there. My heart right now is kind of being tugged toward The Show Must Go On, which is my musical
Yeah.
theater book. I don't
Yeah.
know. It kind of depends on what she thinks, but like, while yes, I was very excited to work on my adult rom-com, I'm kind of like leaning away from it a little bit just because I love YA. I want to be a YA author, even though there is potential for us to pitch Wim Tim as like a new adult kind of book in submitting to some people. So that's kind of something in the back of my mind as well. But my heart lies with being a YA author. That's primarily where I would love to be. That's just kind of what I've always envisioned for myself, and that's like where most of my ideas like are for. So my heart right now is for Tessum Go because I love that book so much. I think it could be a good follow-up to Wim Tim if we get to sell Wim Tim, because it also deals with music in a different aspect, but still music. And I think it would just be like a fun book to follow it up with. I also have a spin-off idea for Tessum Go that I'm also very excited about. So that's kind of where my brain is at the moment, and we're just gonna have to see, I guess. I'm sure I'll have updates at some point that I can share, but right now I don't know where I'm being pulled, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense because now you're gonna have to think about like what do I want my author brand to be, you know?
Yeah.
And I do think it's cool. We see a lot of authors these days, like they do write in several different genres, but
Hmm.
I think it's more common that people start off with one genre, kind of do that several times, and then they dip their toe into something else. So
Once they're a
I
bit
feel
more
like that makes
established,
sense.
or yeah.
Yeah. So I've had to think about it with myself because in the past, like I've always written like weird things.
Hmm.
So, but I started off primarily, doing fantasy things.
Hmm.
So for me to be pursuing like a paranormal horror, it seems kind of weird. But the thing is, I do have other ideas. So I'm like, I feel like I could be a horror writer, but
I
I
feel like it
also,
fits your aesthetic very well. Like I feel
thank
like it
you.
just it fits you, and I see it. I see the vision.
Thank you. I feel like I could like this is not my only idea, I think, for this
Hmm.
atmosphere. Um, I think I could write thrillers as well, but I do have like fantasy ideas. So
Hmm.
really when I look at careers, T. Kingfisher, she writes
Mm.
horror and fantasy. I'm like, that's exactly what I want to be like. I don't know, I think she wrote fantasy first. She wrote
Hmm.
middle grade actually. She's gone so many different pathways. So that's kind of, I feel like I would want to be like that, like eventually, but
Yeah.
I don't know. You just
It's a
kind of have
lot to
to
think
think
about.
about it. It is weird because
Yeah.
right now I shouldn't be thinking about this like at all. But like having a friend who's like actively thinking about these things is hard not to be like,
Yeah.
you know?
I think it
So
is good to kind of think about, just kind of think ahead. Like like most of my ideas, like I said, are YA. Like they're from the ages of 16 to 18. That's kind of where all my ideas come in. Like they're for that age range, they're in high school, that kind of vibe. I get far fewer ideas for an adult market, and lately it's been going up a little bit, but like Mission Rom-Com is like my only like solid idea that I have for like an adult space. And I think it partially is because I don't feel like an adult myself.
I feel that.
So like I feel like it's harder for me to write about adult things when I don't feel like an adult. So that's just kind of where my head's at. Like I feel like I relate more to a teenager than an
No,
adult, even though I'm
I feel
25,
that. Like, why am I playing Club Penguin at 24?
because it's fun. I'm so excited.
No, literally, me and my sister was playing earlier, and we were in the pizza parlor, and everybody's like, "How old are you?" Like everybody's in 20s. There was someone that's 32. Like we're
Amazing.
all just living our childhood, like I don't know, our childhood fantasy. It's
Club
healing
Penguin
the
is the
inner kid.
best.
Yes.
I've been playing The Sims a lot recently again.
I've
Um,
never played it, and I
I
feel
think
like
we've had this
I
conversation.
know. I feel like I shouldn't even touch it
That's
because
how I
I
felt.
will get sucked in. It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
I loved it as a kid. I would play Sims 2 on the PS2, and was obsessed with it, and then kind of forgot about it for a while, like didn't play it, don't use the PS2. My sibling has it in their room. Um, and then I was just kind of thinking about it. I think I saw some videos on YouTube or something, and I kind of just like looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's free to download. Ugh. And I was like, the second I download this, I know it's gonna be a slippery slope. And then I
Yes.
did it anyway, and it is a slippery slope. I mean, I do go through like phases of like times where I play it a lot and can play for hours on end, and then other times where like I don't feel as drawn to playing it, or I can only play it for like a few minutes, and then I'm like, oh, I'm kind of bored. Um, but I've been playing it a bit recently. I've been getting into building a lot on The Sims. I made like a cute autumn themed house, which was fun.
Oh.
I made some libraries because I just discovered that you can make like things that are not just like a residential like house. You can make like other things and like have it labeled as that so
Oh.
like other Sims will come to it. Didn't know you could do
Oh.
that. Yeah, so I made some libraries. And then even though I've very strongly told myself that I was not allowed to buy anything, like no kits, no packs, no nothing, because I don't like buying things that I can't physically have. Um,
Yeah.
After saying that for a long time, I finally caved and bought two kits. So I bought the new autumn apparel kit, which is just a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
autumn clothing.
You
I saw
have
like
to.
I know I saw like one sweater and one pair of pants, and I was like, my Sims simply deserve this. They need it.
My
Um,
penguin has a cute sweater
mhm.
right
I
now.
can't wait to
So
see.
yeah, like I all of it's Halloween and fall related. So like how are you supposed to not buy that stuff right now?
Yeah. And then I also caved and bought a very predictable kit for myself. It's the Book Nook kit.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the biggest draw for me was like the bookshelves were modular. So like they have
Oh.
like a standard bookcase. And then they have like little add-ons that you can add to it. It's like a little shorter one, and then like one shelf that you can like add on to it. And some of them have a lot of books, some of them have no books on it. And you can like slot things into it, and they like butt up right against each other when you build, which normally I'd have to like cheat it to like get them to be like specifically set. And so like you can really customize it. They've got different swatches of like different colored books. So you can have like rainbow shelves. So you can have like all
Whoa.
white books. Like it's so fun. And that's what really drew me into it. And so I caved and I bought it and I like redid my library with all these new shelves and I redid all of my like Sims houses that have like bookcase
Oh my
places in them.
God.
It was a lot of fun.
As you
And
should.
thank you. And I might buy one more kit. There's a grunge apparel kit that has one top in
Oh.
it
Just
that
one?
gives just one top that gives Maisie like
How much are these kits? That's what I'm curious
okay,
about.
Canadian, they're $8.
Okay.
They're a little bit cheaper for you, but it's not like bad. Like there are other items in this kit. There was just one shirt that like I
That's
want
the
to
one.
use for Maisie. Because basically, I a couple months ago did a video where I created my characters for my new project that I was drafting in The Sims 4 and I have no kits. I was just using like the base game, whatever I had. And it was so hard to like get them to look like how I pictured them, and it didn't really work that well. And I've been kind of wanting to do it for Tim, but I'm like, I do not have the items that will make them look good. I just don't.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of really want to film this video for a couple reasons. One, because it was just fun to do for the last one. Two, I just love The Sims. But also, I'm in the process of getting some art commissioned for Tim,
Yeah.
and I thought that it would be super fun to make this video and then reveal that art in the video to kind of
Hmm.
show off while I'm making The Sims. And that's going to be happening very soon, hopefully, because I've received the sketch
Hmm.
for the art, and we did do some revisions on it. And I'm just obsessed with it. And as we're recording this, I should hopefully be getting the finished, like, colored piece tomorrow.
I definitely want to see it
Oh, you know you're gonna be one of the
because
first
I've
people I
seen
send
the
it
sketch and I do like the sketch.
to.
So
It's
with
so
all the
cute.
color, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be very purple. Hopefully it
Yes.
turns out the way that I'm envisioning it in my head. Um, I'm so excited.
I'm
It's gonna be so
excited to see
fun.
it.
Yeah.
And then
So.
you gonna tweet that and use
Mhm.
it for the end of eternity, as you
Oh yeah.
should.
I'm gonna frame it in my room.
Yes.
It's gonna be everywhere. You're gonna be so sick of seeing this piece of art. But
I'm
yeah,
gonna tattoo it on my face.
oh my God, please do it right on your cheek. It'll be beautiful.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I thought that would be fun to do it in The Sims. And I've kind of been kind of looking just to see if we have like other items that I could use for their outfits, and I think that I can do it relatively well. I think Chris's hair might not be like 100% perfect. Um, and Maisie's hair might not be 100% perfect, but I think that I can scrounge up their outfits enough to like make it good. So I think it's going to be
Good.
significantly better than the last one that I did. Plus, I didn't know those characters well enough. I know I was like really struggling, whereas I know Maisie and Christopher, like I know their
Yeah.
fits, I know their vibe, I know what they look like. So I feel like it'll be a lot easier to do. So I'm excited about it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, look out for that video coming, hopefully very soon.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Do you want to segue to our hot takes on popular writing advice?
Yes.
All right. So we have pulled a bunch of common writing advice that I'm sure most of us have heard throughout the
Mhm.
years. And, not all writing advice works for everybody. Some stuff is going to work for a writer, and other things is going to be super unhelpful.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see because honestly, if it works for you, like, great.
Hmm.
You know, it doesn't really matter. So don't let this mess with your brain because if this helps, anything to get you to write, that's
Mm.
that's all that matters. So it's just fun. So the first one, I mean, it's the one that I feel like everyone hears like first is show, don't tell. How do you feel about this one?
I feel like it is important to show things rather than telling them. I think there's a time and a place. I think some things it's just easier to tell it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I feel like it's important just in case anybody doesn't know what this is about.
Yes.
So pretty much it means instead of just straight up like if there's something about maybe their anxiety or whatever, instead of saying I'm anxious,
Mm.
you can try to show different qualities of like, oh, maybe their hands are trembling or
Yeah.
they're starting to sweat or something. Like, I do feel like that is good advice in that regard, but I do
Mm.
think I feel like sometimes you just gotta tell people stuff, you
Yeah.
know? There's, like you said, a time and a place.
I think there's
But
different degrees of it as well.
yeah.
That makes sense.
And then I think this probably like references things like info dumps
Mm.
instead of like if you're writing any sort of fantasy world, like you don't want to just hit them in the face with this is all the lore of this
Hmm.
country or whatever. Like, you don't have to tell them everything.
Yeah.
Let the character walk on its own and like they'll slowly reveal things.
Hmm.
But I don't know, as with a lot of this advice, I don't feel like it doesn't stand like absolutely. Like there is
Yeah.
places where it matters and others that it doesn't.
The next piece of writing advice is that you have to write every single day.
This one gets so this one, I feel like Stephen King is known a lot for this one. I read his
Interesting.
book on writing. I know you
Mm.
don't like him. I am a Stephen King fan. So I do appreciate some of his advice, but others like this one, I don't feel like you're a terrible writer if you don't write every single
No.
day. And I don't feel like
Everyone,
he meant it that way, but
yeah,
you know.
everyone has different lives, everyone has different responsibilities, everyone has like, a different routine that works for them, and writing every single day is not going to be sustainable for everybody. It's not going to make sense for everybody, you know?
I feel like it's also a little bit like ableist because a lot of people, I know, tea, but seriously, like, I mean, you're just not gonna always be okay every single
Yeah.
day.
Hmm.
And some people just naturally just, I don't know, they binge write and then they take breaks. So it's
Hmm.
just whatever works for you.
Yeah. I think it's also important to not burn yourself out just for the sake of like writing every single day to like because you feel like you have to. Um, I think it's important to listen to yourself and your body and your mind and like make sure you're taking care of yourself. So like for example, when I was working on these edits, like I was a lot of the time working every single day, but there were some days where I was like, I'm simply just too tired. Like I worked all day today, I come home, I don't really want to write. I just want to like lie down in my bed and watch Reba or whatever I was watching. I've been watching Reba recently. Um, and so it's like sometimes you need to allow those moments for yourself where you are just easy on yourself and you're like, you don't have to write today. You don't have to, do anything. And I think that's important as well. Like
Yeah.
even if you work a 9 to 5 job, like you're not working every single day. You work like 5 out of 7 days. Um, so I think when I wasn't working, like when I didn't have a job, I would try to write every single day, like weekdays, but make sure that I took the weekends for myself. Like I
Yeah.
set like rules to like my routine to make sure that it wasn't like all about writing and not about anything else kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, it's important to refill our wells.
Yes.
So that's something past couple months as I've really like written a lot more than usual. I haven't been reading as much, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just, I got a full-time job and I'm having to fit in things where I can. So
Mm-hmm.
usually I'll try to read like a few pages before bed, but that just makes progress a lot slower. So last couple weeks, I did read one five-star book, A Study in Drowning. That was so
Yes.
good. I need to read A
Love it.
Theory in Dreaming. Did you
Mm-hmm.
read that one yet?
I have not. No, I
Okay.
meant to. I need to reread A Study in Drowning so that I can read that one. I'm so excited. I'm thinking November just because I have so many books in my TBR for this month, but I'm hoping next month.
Yeah, I hope that one's also a five-star. I started it, but I don't know why. I'm like hopping around and I've read like 100 pages of several books and nothing's really hitting for me right now.
Oh, are you in a book slump? Are you in a book
Yes.
hangover?
Yes, ever since I read that one, it's like nothing is comparing, and I kind of feel bad because I'm trying to read books of authors that are going to YALLFest. If you know what YALLFest is, it's a book festival in South Carolina, and this year it's November 14th to 15th, I think, and I am going.
Yay.
Why do I keep picking up some of these books and I'm not liking them? Like, and I don't own some of them, so I was like borrowing them from the library on my ebook,
Hmm.
or my e-reader, and I'm like, I just can't picture myself buying this and like wanting, like, I love a signed book, but if I'm not gonna reread this, like potentially,
Hmm.
I don't want to pay $20 or whatever just to get them to sign it. And I'm
See?
getting frustrated. Ava Reed, who did write A Study in Drowning, is going. So that's why I
Jealous.
read that.
Jealous.
I bought like all of her books. So like maybe I just need to hone in on
Yeah.
her and read all of them because
I
I'm
need to read more of
obsessed.
her books. I've only read A Study in Drowning, but she's like
Watch,
quite a few.
watch us not like the others. Like that would be so tragic.
Let's not put that into the universe, please. They're gonna be
Yes,
amazing.
yes. Okay, that was a tangent. I'm sorry. The next one, I'm curious what you think about this because people really they beef about this one.
Hmm.
Don't use adverbs.
I like an adverb.
I know. Well, here's the thing. I This is another Stephen Kinger.
Mm,
And a lot of people believe this. Like, just don't use excessive like amounts of adverbs. Like
yeah,
try to be very precise with, your other language. So I do try to do that, and I have found that like I'm over here not using adverbs just about at all, and I feel like I could add some, you know? I feel like that has been burned in my brain.
yeah,
And, I try to pay attention when I am reading and see like how often people are using like adverbs.
yeah.
And I'm like, people are using them, so maybe I'm
Why
allowed
not?
to.
Yeah. I just did look up the definition of an adverb
Yes,
just
give
to
us the
clarify for
definition.
everybody. It's a word that describes a verb, adjective, or another adverb, providing more information about how, when, where, how often, or to what extent something happens. Many adverbs end in ly, but there are many
Hmm.
common exceptions. Um, yeah, I think I love using an ly word. A little
Yeah.
adverby moment, you know? I
I feel
think
like
again,
I
yeah,
need to put them back in.
not in like an excessive amount, but like sometimes you just, why not?
How do you feel about because another one that's burned in my head is an example is Twilight, where like it's like she
Mm.
never would say said. Like she's always
Oh,
like he growled or he confirmed or like he assured. Like
see, here's the thing with said, right? Said is like invisible when you're reading. You
yeah.
don't notice it. I think that there are times where like you don't need to use it for like every single like dialogue tag. Like some can go without any dialogue tag at all. And there are some where like, you can use like a different variation, but I think it when you get to the point where you're using like weird words,
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
have off the top of my head, but I know that there's been instances where people have used like a really strange word and it's like you could have just used said or described how
Yeah.
that person was speaking in a different way. I think when you overcomplicate it, it gets a bit weird. But I think said, asked, things like that, those ones are a bit invisible. You don't notice them when you're reading because they're so commonplace that it's really just a
Mhm.
way for you to know who's talking. It doesn't need to be overthought or overcomplicated. Just use said.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
if you don't want to use said, like use some sort of action where the character's moving. Did they
Yeah.
mess with their hair or something? Um, I I struggle with it a little when I have a scene with so many characters. And
Mm.
recently I was reading Crooked Kingdom and I was taking
Mm.
note because, she has six of crows.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just a bunch of characters all at once. And
Hmm.
I did like she was using some interesting
Was she?
interesting ones. Yeah, I was like, dang, there was just I mean, because the characters just one by one, like all saying something. So I'm like, what do you
Hmm.
do in those moments? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
overwhelming. Anytime I have a scene that's more than two characters, I'm stressed. Like,
Yeah.
where are they all in the room? Like, I'm
Hmm.
always stressed.
I get
So,
stressed about how many times I'm using a character's name. I'm like, when should I use a pronoun over the name? And
yeah.
like, you need to make sure, like, if you have multiple of the same gender, like, making sure that you like differentiate who's speaking and like they don't get confused. It's a science and it's scary. I do feel like slightly more out of the ordinary ones work better in fantasy because it's already so out of the ordinary and like not commonplace. Whereas like in a contemporary real world set, I, I feel like it'd be harder to get away with saying growled in a way that's like not like a little bit weird.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
because
like
no one growls on the regular.
no, and like I know what they mean when they say growled. They're not actually literally growling. And I
Yeah.
think some people do get a little bit too literal about the dialogue tags, and they're like, I see TikToks about it, and I'm like, okay, but that's clearly not what they were saying. Like,
Yeah.
come on, like use your brain. That's clearly not what they meant. That's just how we describe things. Um, yeah,
Honestly, it's one of those things, deal with it while editing. Like,
yeah.
I try not to think about it too
Mhm.
much. But yes, while reading through my draft, I was like, it was
Yeah.
hurting. It was hurting a lot. Okay, and the next one is you have to write badly before you can write well.
Huh.
You have a very big thinking face right now.
Because I don't know how I feel about that one.
Mm,
What do you think?
that's interesting. I agree with it in the sense of since I am not like a good outline follower,
Mm,
the book as a whole is not good. Right now, it's not good.
right.
Yes, it's peppered in with like lines that I like and
Mhm.
some scenes that I like, but it's not going to be good until I build upon this.
Mm.
Um, so that's how I take it, but
Yeah.
also some people really And I hate these people. They write good first drafts.
Yeah,
You know, it's kind of crazy to think about that.
I'm jealous. Yeah, I think I agree on a very like simple scale. Um but yeah, then there are those outliers that, are just really good at what they do without, like on the first try, and that ain't me. Um so yeah, I don't know. That one I guess I agree with. I
It's tricky.
guess.
It's
Yeah.
kind of weird. I went to that Lee Bardugo and T. Kingfisher event,
Mhm.
and Lee Bardugo, they were kind of just both asking each other questions.
Mhm.
And she asked T. Kingfisher, like, how she does everything. Because apparently, T. Kingfisher, despite not being an outliner, writes really clean first drafts. And
Oh,
there was at one point, and she writes multiple books a year. Oh, kind of skinny. Now, how is the door just open?
ghost.
Okay. It was,
Oh,
and
it's
I was
Kate.
like, I didn't see her. I was like, how did it just open like that?
He shouldn't have revealed himself.
It's a ghost.
It's a ghost.
No, but this amazed me. So T. Kingfisher comes out with
Mhm.
several books every year.
Yeah.
Then mentions several times how she doesn't really know anything when she's diving in. And what she does, she writes 15,000 words and sends it to her agent. And then, like, we'll have several different drafts of like 15,000 words and says, like, which one do you want me to
Whoa.
do? And doesn't
Whoa.
even know where it's going. And then
Whoa.
somehow has clean first drafts and mentioned one time a first draft, it was just good. They just went with it. I'm sure they did like line edits, but like,
The chaos of that. What?
I know Lieber to go was shook.
My mind is blown. I don't know what to do with this information.
I know, there's just people like that.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, and how she got her agent. She just got asked one day, like, do you want an agent? This was so many years ago, I guess.
Do you want an agent?
And she's like, I mean, I guess. And then boom. And then had to ask like 6 months later, I'm like, are you my agent? And they're like, yes. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
Crazy.
But I know. It's a weird experience.
Whoa, T. Kingfisher.
You
Did
just
not
never
know.
know.
Wow.
Her game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. The next piece of writing advice is write what you know.
Hmm.
I think I saw a post about this recently, and I wish that I remembered what it said, but it was like further defining what that means. And I wish I remembered what it said, but I don't.
I
So probably
found
shouldn't have
this
brought it up.
one. It was there was like a Toni Morrison quote like unpacking this thought of like write what
Mm,
you know.
mm,
And she was saying like she would tell like students the opposite. Like
mm.
you need to explore, different people than yourself. And obviously this can get complicated because you don't want to write, people of a completely different like ethnicity and like do it really terribly and then throw it
Yeah.
to the world. Um, but I don't know, there's people like Kennedy Ryan, like she wrote this book called, what was it called? Real. And that's a character with the chronic illness. She does not have the chronic illness, but
Mm,
she did a lot of research and interviews and like she does a lot of different things like that from my understanding with her books,
yeah.
but if she writes some sort of perspective that she doesn't have herself, like she does a lot of like research like that. So
And
I'm
you can have
like,
sensitivity readers as well, which I think is
yeah,
important if you're going to be doing
yeah,
that. Um, I don't think I fully agree with this one. I think I
yeah,
understand the sentiment of it. And maybe when you're first starting out, maybe that's something that you should lean toward a little bit more. But I think a writing is a way to explore other things and like explore things outside of yourself. Like I have never been in a musical theater production. I don't know what that's
yeah,
like. But I wrote a book about a musical theater production. I've never been a celebrity. I wrote about a celebrity. And I think if we as writers strictly stuck to our limited life experience, I think that we would not have a lot of the great stories that we do. And like fantasy would like how would you write fantasy if you're only writing
yeah.
what you know? So like I think I understand the sentiment of this one, but I don't think I fully agree with it.
Yeah,
All
I
aspects.
agree. Because, like, then you're just not exploring anything. Like, you
And you're
could,
not learning and you're not, expanding your horizons and like, you know?
yeah. The next one, I found like a Virginia Woolf quote. I'm just like investigating these different writers for their advice. Um, she is talking about observing strangers. So this kind of goes with like the argument you just made for write what you know. Like
Mhm.
observing strangers, let your own version of their life story shoot around through your head. How they got where they are now, where they might be going, and fill in the blanks. Eavesdrop, listen to the way people speak, but pay special attention to their silence, which I think was an interesting way to put
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
So I think this is hard for the introverts of the world. Um, because I fully agree with this, but I'm
Mm.
also a homebody. I work
Yeah.
remote. Writing is usually pretty solitary.
Mm.
Maybe I should go write in a cafe or something, but I have anxiety.
Mood. Yeah.
So also you don't want to be creepy, like where you're just actively staring at people.
Yeah.
But
I
when I
think
do go out, I do,
people
people
watch.
watch.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could extend that to like social media as well and like watching people's vlogs or like, people watch
Yeah.
in a virtual sense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I do think it is helpful to like pay attention to other people and like how they move through the world and like that kind of vibe. So, yeah, but it
Also,
is hard
people are
to
just
leave the
so
house.
different. I know it is hard to leave the house. As a writer, like what you gonna do?
I hate leaving the house. So the next writing advice is if you forget the idea that you had, like you didn't write it down, then it wasn't worth writing anyways. I don't know if I've heard this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard this one. Um, and like I don't know. It's difficult because recently my brain has been getting stupider.
No.
No, no, for real. Like, I think I've been experiencing because several of like my chronic illness things, people describe brain fog. And
Oh,
I've
okay.
never known if I'm like actually experiencing that or if this is just like a Peyton moment or something. But
Mhm.
I am a lot more forgetful than I ever used to be. Like I'll
Mm.
like just I have to be like an old lady. I have a pill box for day and night because I can't remember if I took the pills. Like I'm
Oh
an old
no.
lady. I can't remember like 2 seconds ago if I took that pill or not. So I have to literally organize it. So I'm
I
like,
feel
this
that.
feels unfair, you know? I'm like, oh, I had a great idea and I'm convinced I'll remember it. And
Yeah.
it disappears. And I'm like, I sometimes you're just stupid. Like, or
Yeah.
you're dealing with brain fog and you can't help it.
I don't think that forgetting an idea means that it wasn't worth writing. I think it's just an unfortunate event that takes place. You know,
Yes.
like when you have like a dream or like a thought in the middle of the night, but you're trying to sleep and it's like, I'll remember it in the morning, but you don't. I do find that
Yeah.
sometimes those ideas tend to sometimes come back around and then it's kind of like affirming that like it was worth something. But I don't think that it inherently means that if you forget it, it wasn't worth writing or it's not like it wasn't going to be good. I think it's just sad that you forgot something because it could have turned into something good.
Yes. That's why
Yeah.
you always have a little notebook or put it in your notes app because
Hmm.
I convinced myself that I will remember it.
You never do.
I know it's getting worse, like the old
Yeah.
lady brain. And I'm
No.
24, it's taking over. Imagine a decade from now.
Mm. Will you even have a brain left?
I know it might shrink.
No brain cells in that head. You'll have a smooth brain.
Whoa.
Have you heard of
I
that? A smooth
no.
brain? Yeah.
I
It's like
just watched Saw 10 and there was
oh.
a trap where he had to like drill a hole into his head and pick a piece of brain matter and like
Ew.
level it so it would be
Mm-mm.
enough. Yeah, it's gross. He did not. The thing is, these traps make me so mad. 3 minutes to do that? Are you serious? Give him a little bit more time because he got the piece out.
Mm,
But the thing, the leveler thing, like it needed some time to like whatever it was doing. So he didn't make it and boom, he died. And I'm
yeah.
like, he did get the piece out though. Like, give them more time.
That's where the stakes are, though.
Jigsaw. Jigsaw, give them at least 5 minutes.
I've only seen the first movie and I didn't love it, so.
Oh my God.
But damn, that sounds gross. But yeah, I
Yeah,
was
it's
watching The Good
monstrous.
Place, and that's where I heard about
Oh,
Smooth Brain for the first time because there's a really, really
oh,
dumb character named Jason, and he was bragging about how he has a smooth brain. But that means that, like, you're dumb.
oh, poor Jason.
You should
He's
watch The Good
trying.
Place. It's real
I
good.
know, I think Kaden has seen it, or at least some of
Real
it.
good. I've been on a Kristen Bell kick this year.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you were telling me, what was the other thing that you watched
Veronica
of her?
Mars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never
And
saw that either.
oh, it's so good. Except the last 5 minutes of season 4, but we don't talk about that.
Okay.
Um, Yeah. And then also I'm rewatching Nobody Wants This because season 2 is coming out on Thursday.
Where's this
So I'm
bug?
rewatching.
The bugs keep attacking me. The gnats. I'm so sorry.
Gross. But yeah, love Kristen Bell. She has quickly become a favorite actress this year.
Good. I feel like I've been underestimating her. The next one is you may have to write a practice novel or several before you get it right. I'm curious what you think about this because you have several under your belt.
Mm, thank you. I don't know how I feel about the concept of calling it a practice novel,
Yeah.
simply just because while you're writing it, I'm assuming that's not fully how you're thinking of it as.
Hmm.
Like when I was writing my very first novel, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is just a practice novel. Like I'm not going to do anything with this. Like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel just about that terminology, but it is a very common thing that your first book is not going to be the one that you actually publish. Um,
Hmm.
it so I think what it's trying to say here is like don't be discouraged if like you don't do anything with your first book or like like you need that practice of those early
Yeah.
novels um to get to a place where you can be publishable. Like Wim Tim, I don't even know if I can figure this out. I think Wim Tim was my fifth novel that I wrote, sixth novel that I wrote.
I'm losing
um
count.
Timelines are confusing because I write all over the place. It was either the fifth or the sixth, I think. I can't remember if my Christmas book. I think my Christmas book came first.
Oh, so
It
I
was
think it's
2021.
six then.
Yeah, because Christmas book I think was 2021. So that one would have been 2022. Um, but it was my third fully revised novel, if we want to talk about it in those terms
Hmm.
instead. Because I wasn't revising every single book that I was writing. Like, still haven't touched that Christmas book since I first drafted it. So
Is there a reason for that? Did you just like not feel connected enough to go and revise those immediately?
the Christmas one.
Hmm.
That one, I think, because I had already started querying at that point, it was just like a NaNoWriMo project, and it was just a very indulgent idea that like I got and then immediately started to like outline and work on because I was just so excited about the concept of writing a Christmas book. And I
Yeah.
probably needed that like joy and cheer in my life at the time. Just something fun and cute and, fake dating again and all that. Um, but it was never something that I wanted to query because that's very much so where my head was at was working on queryable projects in case the one that I was out with didn't pan out. So I was very much so any project that I seriously work on has to get to the point of being queryable. And I knew that I didn't want to query a Christmas novel because it felt too niche of a thing um,
Yeah,
to try to get representation for.
that makes
But
sense.
many times I've had the plan to go back and reread it at least or like start to like think about revising it just for my own enjoyment and it just never pans out because I get too busy at Christmas. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
a very specific time of year you'd want to
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, maybe one day years and years down the line, I'll return to it because I do think it's cute and fun, and I do love me some fake dating, but it's not in the plans right now. But yeah, what do
No.
you think about this one?
Um, it reminds me a lot of some things that Brandon Sanderson says.
Mm,
I've watched his like lectures online on his YouTube channel. Um, and I think his first published book was like his eighth or ninth, something like
mm,
that. But he had an interesting way of looking at it, like this practice novel idea. I think he kind of, not there being a siren. Hope everybody's fine.
can't hear it.
But he kind of took the pressure off of himself with
Mm,
writing, was like, well, this is not going to be the one that gets
right.
published. So I'm
Mhm,
just going to learn the ropes. He was kind of teaching himself through several books. And then I
mm,
think he tried either book five or book six is when he like was gonna actually try, and it wasn't till like several books later. So I don't know. Some people, not everybody wants to be published too. We haven't
yeah,
said that, And I don't know, maybe it takes pressure off if you're just like, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna
yeah,
learn how to do it, and then one day we'll see. But
yeah. I think it's just the wording of the practice novel for some reason that I don't particularly love.
no, I think that makes sense. Because I think both of us have always been very, like, had a goal with it.
Yeah,
So for us to, like, say our project is practice, which I do feel like my past things was practice.
yeah,
Every time you write is practice.
yeah,
But it's like, dang, don't do my project like that. Don't
yeah.
call it practice. But it was.
Hmm.
It was at the end of the
I mean, yeah, I guess every novel then is a practice novel, so I think I would then prefer like I don't like the practice novel terminology there. I don't know.
day. Yeah, I don't know who
Maybe it
said
would be
it.
like you may have to write a few novels before you get it right or before you get to the point where you can publish. Like just like tweaking the wording of that a little bit to make it
Yeah,
make a bit more sense in my brain.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Here's the next one. I think you're gonna like that one.
Mhm. The next piece of advice is give yourself a deadline and stick to it. I'm gonna let you talk about this one first because we all
Oh,
know what I think about a deadline.
yeah. I definitely agree with this
Mhm.
because I am not motivated otherwise. Like,
Right.
I think you need to have a bit of a realistic deadline because last year I was like, I'm gonna do NaNoWriMo. I'm gonna write 50K in a month. That was a
Mhm.
bad choice. I had not, I hadn't been like actively working
Yeah,
on something in so long, and I was like, let me go from 0 to 100.
you
Like,
were
as if
jumping right into the deep end. Yeah, that
I
was a
know.
choice.
And I'm crazy. Like I sometimes that will work out for me,
Hmm.
but I was going through some other life things. It was just not, there
Yeah.
was no way that was going to work out. So
No.
then, despite me writing more than I had in a long time, it felt like a failure. And that
Mm,
sucked because it
yeah.
wasn't a failure.
It was not.
But, if I don't have any sort of goal, I won't do it. Even if I want to do it so deeply, like this is a big goal in my life to have books on the shelves one day, I will procrastinate it. And that's what I did throughout college. I just was trying to get my good grades. That was the main goal in college, was like, let me get the good grades. And then nowadays, I got my full-time job. I'm gonna have hit 2 years doing that in February.
Wow, that's
I know, isn't
crazy.
that crazy?
Wild.
2 years. So now it's like I needed a new goal. Like I'm not trying to get a new job. So I'm
Yeah.
like, what is my goal for life?
Mm,
So I always have to be chasing something.
right.
Um, because otherwise I just started therapy. And my
Ooh,
lady was like, what do you
lady.
do? Like, what do you do to deal with all these things? So I'm like, I throw myself into my passions. Like whatever that thing is, whether it's posting YouTube videos or working on my book or something. Like I always have something creative that I'm gonna attack. And
Mm,
right now, writing is the main thing. And
yeah.
if you're not working on anything right now. Maybe you need a moderate deadline, not ridiculous deadline, but like something that maybe really could challenge you a little bit, but not unreasonably.
Yeah,
That's
I
that's my
think that's the
advice.
key is
Mhm.
being realistic about it all and like knowing your limits, knowing your life and what you can handle. Like I've had to adjust timelines for myself of what I want to do based on now having a job. Whereas like I can't do things as quickly as I could before having my job, you know, because I used to be
Yeah.
able like that was my main thing that I was doing, but now I'm on another schedule that I don't have 100% control over that plays into things now. Um, so we all know that I love a deadline. I
Hmm.
love to stick to
Hmm.
a deadline, as we discussed at the beginning. But I also think that it is important to give yourself grace if you are getting close to that deadline and realizing you can't meet it. To give yourself some grace and extend it because in publishing, while yes, you are going to be given deadlines by your agent, by your editor, there is leeway there. Like you can ask your agent for an extension. You can ask your editor for an extension. Don't do it like a million times, but like
Yeah.
it is something that you can do. So I think while it's important to set yourself a deadline to motivate you and so you're not just like aimlessly working because I do not like feeling aimless.
Me
I think it's
too.
also important to acknowledge that like it can be moved if need be, but like the way that I view it is I want that to be like a last resort. Like if I really can't hit that deadline, then I'll move it. Or if it's going to result in me rushing the project or if it's going to be to the detriment of the project, then
Or
obviously
to
extend it.
yourself,
Or
you
yourself.
know.
Yeah, like I think life is unpredictable, obviously. So some things can come up that you weren't expecting that will then make it harder for you to hit a deadline. So I think that there are variables to it. I think at a baseline, having a deadline is important. I like striving towards something. I don't want to feel aimless. I like to know, how much I need to get done to get to where I need to be. I like a deadline. I think just, don't go to extremes with it where like, you harm yourself or the project.
I'm curious, the people that don't do deadlines, like how's that going for you?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. I find it hard to believe that people will just like go through life without any sort of deadline if their end goal is publication. I feel
Yeah.
like if you're just writing for fun, then that's different, obviously. But
Or
I
if
don't
you only write when the inspiration strikes, which
know.
wait, that's literally the next one.
Yeah.
You can't always
Whoa,
wait for the muse to strike.
that was crazy. That one I agree with,
Me
100%.
too. That's definitely what I had to punch into my life
Mhm.
this past year. Because obviously, I have moments of inspiration and excitement. Like,
Mhm.
you get that big idea, you go and write the first chapter, and then you can't get the rest.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
like,
have to force yourself to at some
yeah.
point.
And like there are some times where like it's okay to not force yourself. Like if you know that like there have been times when I was working on the edits where like I knew that I couldn't force myself to like write the new scene that I needed to do because I knew that it was just not gonna come out right in the headspace that I was in. And so I do think sometimes it's okay to like wait it out until you're not necessarily feeling like inspired or like, the muse or whatever, but when you or maybe just like in the slightly better headspace. But if you waited for every time you felt inspired or whatever, you probably would not get that much done, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes you do have to treat it like a job. And there will be many times where I'm talking to my family, not to call them out, but talking to my family, and I'm like, I have to go right. And they're like, you don't have to. You want to. I'm like,
Oh
no,
my God.
I don't want to actually, not at this moment, but I have to.
To
I
reach
have
the
to.
goals, you have to.
Yeah. Like I pride myself on my work ethic and I pride myself on being able to motivate myself without any other like outside pressure because I've been doing this since I was 16, right? Like
Mhm.
15, 16 writing novels and I couldn't have done that without that ability and that like, that
The
Uh,
drive. Nobody
yeah.
was forcing you to.
Nobody was forcing me to do it. Nobody, I didn't have anybody expecting anything from me. I didn't have, anyone else being like, you have to do this. I was like, I want to do this. And so I'm going to make myself do it even when I do not want to because my future self will thank me for it. And I know that I'm not going to get to where I need to be if I don't work hard for it. So I do pride myself on that aspect of my being. And I like that part about myself.
Yeah, you're ambitious.
Yeah, I'm
It
ambitious.
drives you.
Yeah.
I feel like we both are ambitious, but
Mm.
mine, I was chasing other things, like
Yeah,
school.
we took different courses in life. You took the more traditional route where you go straight to school, and that was not me. That was not me.
You know, it was not the most fun experience.
I knew that it wasn't the path for me. It didn't feel right.
I feel like that's important though, to know
Yeah.
that not everybody has to do that path.
Yeah. And
You
you can
can
still
really
get to where you
lock
want to
in
go.
for your dreams.
Yeah. Because like I was going to go to school for creative writing, but the way that the program was set up, it was a 2-year program. Or I think it was like a 4-year program where I could do the first 2 years at this college and then transfer to a university or just stay at that college. But like the first year, I think I wasn't even going to be able to do any writing courses. I had to do all of this other
Hmm.
like prerequisite stuff that I
Yeah.
had no interest in. I'm like, I just did this in high school. I'm going to college to not do that. So I don't want to spend a year doing things that I'm not good at that I don't enjoy just to get to what I want to do. And then to possibly not even enjoy the writing part. Like I didn't want the schooling to like suck the joy out of it because I'd be doing things that I don't like doing creative writing wise. So
Hmm.
I just knew it wasn't for me, but that's off topic. So
No, it's interesting. Like, I don't know, school's a scam in my opinion. Like, why am I taking science and
yeah.
other languages other than English, like with a gun to
Hmm.
my head, like you gotta do it or you're
Hmm.
not gonna graduate.
Because,
I
like,
hate science.
college, I think, should purely be about setting yourself up for what you want to do. Because their reasoning for it was like, 'cause I questioned them, I'm pretty sure. I was like, why do I have to take this stuff when I want to do creative writing? And they're like, well, we want you to be well-rounded and like to figure out what you want to do. I'm like, I know what I want to do. I figured that out in high school. So, like,
Hmm.
if someone needs to figure out still what they want to do, then let them take those courses willingly. I don't want to take them. I don't want to
I will
spend all this
say
money.
some writers say that you should go to school and not do anything related to writing so that you
Yeah.
can learn all these different things.
I've
And
just
I
always
did
kind of
English.
I've kind of always had the mentality that like if I wanted to learn something, I can teach myself or like take courses online. Like there are so many
Yeah,
online resources that would be significantly cheaper than going to college and like, all of that
that's so
that I
true.
can do instead of having to go to school and spend thousands and thousands of
Student debt.
dollars. Oh,
Yeah, I got student debt.
yeah, I'm so sorry.
It's gonna be like this for at least a decade.
Ooh, that
It's
is so sad.
terrible. Okay, what's the next one? Oh, resist the urge to go back to the beginning. I was fighting for my life with this one.
I know you were.
Because, like I always say, because things morph as I go along, I get new ideas for how the beginning should be.
Mm,
But I really was fighting myself because I didn't want this whole draft. I did not want to be overly focused on the line level stuff. That's what
mm,
I've gotten too focused on in the past. And then I end up with a bunch of beautiful paragraphs that I have to delete because they're no longer relevant to
yep,
my new version of the story.
yep, yep, yep.
So I think that's the only reason this draft even happened.
Mm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
kind of enjoying that for the first time it's like a underwritten draft and I get to
Yeah.
build on it. I'm like, this
Hmm.
feels great. This feels
Yeah.
great. Um, so I think it is. I know some people really like to edit the last chapter before they continue with the next one.
Yeah.
And, I do read through the last chapter and I might tweak like a thing or two if it's just like, oh my God, I typoed. Like, let me fix
Yeah.
that real quick.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's good to push yourself
Yeah.
to the
Keep going
end.
forward.
Because then you could potentially be in a circle. Obviously, there's people that, are the outlier of this. Like
Yeah.
they're able to go back and then keep moving forward. But a
There's an
person like
exception to
me,
everything, you know.
yeah.
Like if
Well,
someone wants to have a cleaner first draft and they're able to do that, like go back and edit a chapter and then go back and write another one and like keep going that way. I think if that works for you, wonderful. But I think especially when you're first trying to write a novel, I think it's important to power through and just worry about making it better later. Like just keep on going. If you realize that you want to change something early on, then you can keep writing as if it was already written that way. And then you
that's
can
what
go
I do.
back and change it. Yeah.
The way I do that, but several times.
Yeah.
So you can just see the shifts. And that's why I went through. I'm like, this is inconsistent. I forgot
Mm.
I killed someone.
Mm.
Yeah, I forgot that
Oh.
another person had died. So
Mm.
there was supposed to be a certain number of bodies. And I'm over here counting them as I go. It's like, bitch, what did you just do here?
The math ain't mathin'. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm like, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, like it
just
does make a mess in
keep going.
revisions, but I think when you're
Yeah.
at least first starting out, like do whatever you can do to get yourself to the finish line. Like my first novel that I ever wrote, I think the only reason I was able to get to the end was because I wrote out of order. I did not write in
Yeah.
order at all. It was a mess because I was writing in Word and I did myself no favors. Like I didn't tell myself where it should go or like what part it
That's
was at. I
crazy.
was just writing random ass scenes. And then I had to piece it together later and it was I don't know what the hell I was doing,
That's
but
evil.
I
Like,
know I would never want to go back and look at that file. I don't even know if I have that file or if I redid it in that same. I don't know what I did, but I don't want to know. It's not for my eyes.
that's funny.
The next writing advice is one should use common words to say uncommon things. I've never heard this one either, at
I
least not
haven't either.
worded that way.
Yeah, the wording I thought was interesting.
Hmm.
Um, because essentially what this is touching on is don't be crazy with the thesaurus.
Yeah. Hmm. That's what I
Not
got from
every
that too.
word has to be one that is huge.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, you just don't have to do that.
I actually have thoughts on this that just
Oh,
came to me.
please. Please do.
Sometimes common words and saying things simply has a bigger effect than if you were to use a big word, right? Like, I think there's been a lot of discussion recently about Miss Taylor Swift and the life of a showgirl and the
Mm-hmm.
quality of the lyrics in this book or in the album, sorry.
I have
Um,
thoughts on it.
Yes. So a lot of people are like, where did the folklore writer go? Like, how could you, yes, where could you, like, how could you go from that to this? And it's like, sometimes it's in the simplicity of things. Like in, oh, is it Wish List or Honey? Oh my God, I feel like I need to look this up. Like, you can call me Honey if you want because I'm the one you want.
Mhm.
People are making fun of that line. And I'm like, I feel like the simplicity of that is like what is so special about it. Like, yeah, I'm the one you want. So you can call me honey if you want. That
Yeah.
sounded dumb when I said it, but like,
No, I have been really upset by all the comments because I literally first listen, I had the best time of my life. I
oh,
was
me
having
too.
such a good time. And then I was like literally shocked when I went online the next day
Hmm.
and everybody's like, this is so awful. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I feel like this is the same type of pop music that
Right?
we've gotten several times. And I do think there is complexity to a lot of the lyrics.
Mhm.
Like, let me see some of these people write this way.
Right?
Obviously, there's some lines that are more simple, like you just said.
But like, there
Um,
was things like that in Midnight's. Like, there was things in that even in
I
Tortured Poets where there was
and
like cringy, like.
that's what I don't get is Midnight's exploded her even more
Hmm.
in, the Eras tour.
Yeah.
So that's what's been the most confusing for me because I'm like, how did you like Midnight's
But
so
not.
much, but not this? Because I feel like it's tonally very similar.
I
But
feel like people sometimes go with their knee-jerk reactions to things instead of letting it sit for a minute because I also like Midnight's was not my favorite when I first listened to it. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite, especially coming straight from Folklore and Evermore.
Mhm.
Um, but the more you listen, the more you enjoy. Like there were some songs on Showgirl that were not my favorite upon listening. Like I really loved the first three, and then it started to fall off a little bit for me. But I kept my thoughts to myself. And then after another listen or two, I was like, wow, these are bops. I love them all.
They definitely, I think with any album,
Mm-hmm.
you have to give it a couple
Some time.
listens.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
so I don't know. I already see people changing their mind.
yeah.
It's kind of
Um,
ridiculous.
I can't remember what song it's from. I've been trying to find it, but there's another line where it's like when your first crush crushes something nice or something like that. Like when your crush
Mm.
crushes. People were making fun of that line too, and I'm like, I loved
Oh,
that line.
I
So
can't
I don't know.
remember.
Yeah, me either. But I think the life of the showgirl is the perfect example of like sometimes saying things simply has a bigger impact than if you were to like flower it up with all this language that like really is just using more words to say something that doesn't need that many words,
And the
you know?
tone of the actual album, I don't feel like it needed the
Yeah.
lyricism of, Folklore, Evermore, Tortured Poets. Like it was just a
Yeah.
different vibe.
And I do think some books benefit from more flowery writing. So like I think for example, like in a more like contemporary book, like what I write, I do think simpler language, at least the majority of the time. Like I think there's sometimes where you can use over flowery language. But I think using simpler language makes more sense because it's grounded in the real world. But if you're writing a more fantasy or a more like whimsical type of book, I think it makes more
Magical
sense.
realism.
Yeah, like for like Ava Reed, like it would make more sense to have like, more flowery language for something or, a more whimsical way of explaining something. So I think it also depends on the tone of the book and the kind of writer that's writing it too. I think
Yeah.
everything again has its place. So I don't think that this should be like a blanket statement for all writers and all like on all books.
Yeah. And everybody has their own style,
Yeah.
and based on whatever genre you're trying to write, like I guess it will morph with
Hmm.
that. And
Yeah.
kind of brings up like purple prose writing. Like people
Yeah.
really shit on that, but I feel like sometimes that
Sometimes
is
it
what I want to
works.
read. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm a purpley prosy lady
Hmm.
often. But, it can, when you're reading something fast paced, you don't want all of that. Like, shut
Yeah.
up.
Hmm.
Like, let's get back to the action,
Like
girl,
I think I think that kind of writing works well for like V.E. Schwab, but her kind of writing might not translate to somebody else's like genre or style of book. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's all dependent, I think, on a lot of different factors.
Yeah. This is an
Yeah,
interesting discussion. I
I'm
love
loving
it.
it.
Yeah. Oh, this one. Writing can or cannot be taught. There's people that say it one way and then people that say the other way. So, which one do we lean towards?
I think I more so lean towards can, and not always in the like strictest sense of like sitting in a classroom or like that kind of vibe, like actually like being taught something. But I feel like you can, like with reading books, for example, right? Like you learn every single time you're reading. You
Mhm.
soak up the information, especially if you're already inherently like a creative or you're already inherently leaning towards like writing. I feel like you read and digest things a little bit differently than if you're just reading casually. Like you will pick up things along the way that will help improve your craft. Um, So I think that there are things that you can be taught, and then I think there are things that like you will teach yourself as you are writing, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think
Like, yeah.
everybody probably has some sort of natural talent
Yeah.
already to even be interested in it, you know.
Hmm.
Though there are some bad writers, but though I feel like when it comes to a bad writer, maybe they're not absorbing all of
Yeah,
this, like you just said. Like, I think it takes a person who's willing to do that work.
to continuously learn, like to not feel like they
Yeah.
know everything already, but they are constantly craving learning new techniques and learning new things about their craft and like constantly improving upon it instead of
Hmm.
staying stagnant. I think it's not all inherently about talent, because if it
Hmm.
was, then like we would all be writing like masterpieces when we're like children, you
That's
know?
true.
Because like my
Yeah.
writing now is significantly different to what it was a decade ago because I've
Hmm.
learned, taught myself things, and
You make
I
a
don't.
good point.
I do. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add to that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The last piece of writing advice that we're going to talk about is end each day mid-sentence.
Yeah. I think this could work for some people. It does not work for me. And I will tell you why. I get in very specific like states of flow when I'm writing, and I always try to end at the end of a scene, at the end of a chapter, because I'm scared that when I sit down next to write, that I will be unable to find that flow. Like I find that my mind works 10 times faster than my fingers, and I'm a very fast typer, okay? So my brain is going a mile a minute and it takes a while for my fingers to get there. So that I think this is also why my drafts tend to not have a lot of description because I'm getting the story and the dialogue before I'm getting the description. So I need to get that on the page
Mhm.
before I worry about the details of things. So I think that because my brain is already like 5 steps ahead of me as I'm typing, that if I don't get that all down, then I'm gonna lose it and I'm not gonna have it the next day. Kind of, going back to the idea of like, forgetting the ideas that you come up with. I need to complete what I'm working on, and there have been times where I will like even have an idea for the next chapter, but like I don't have time to do it. That I'll have to leave myself like a very detailed note of what my vision is as I'm currently sitting at the computer. I could never end a session mid sentence.
I know that
That is
irks me as
insane.
well. I don't think I would remember like the
No.
thought I was going for.
No, and like I understand the mentality of this because it gets you excited to work the next day and like you'll have like a solid jumping off point. It would never work for me. It would never.
Yeah,
Like I
I
can't
don't.
imagine ending in the middle of a scene, let alone actually in the middle of a sentence. Like who ha, no.
Yeah, honestly, I usually try to end the scene as well.
Mm,
Sometimes I don't, which then I have to go reread everything and try to get myself back into like whatever emotion that I was feeling while writing it.
mhm.
So, like, it feels like I have to take extra work just to get back into it. And I don't know, maybe years ago I tried to do this mid-sentence thing, but it didn't work for
Yeah.
me just because I don't know, it takes like a good 30 minutes, I feel like, till I'm even like really locked in
Mm,
and in a good flow.
right.
And then I feel like I would be just not knowing what to do with that last half
Yeah.
sentence.
I would be lost.
Yeah, that's a crazy one.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for the
That is
writing
it.
advice.
Look at us. Let us know your thoughts on the writing advice we talked about today, or if you have any writing advice that you would like to share that you follow. I'm always curious because everyone has their own process, their own, likes and dislikes and things. And so I think it'd be nice to open up this discussion to all of you listeners
Mhm.
out there.
So now we're going to move into our new segment. We did it last week, but now we have a name for it because we're cool. It's the Dear Writers segment where you submit your questions to us and we will answer them. So please remember, if you have any interesting questions, things to add to the conversation, comment them down below and they could be featured in an upcoming episode. So, yay.
Yes. So I have chosen the questions for this week's episode. Peyton does not know which ones I've chosen,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of fun. We're just kind of going in blind here. I've
Yes.
also not thought too hard about the answers to these questions, so you're really getting our on the spot answers.
Thoughts.
So the first question is favorite character you've written and why?
Oh, oh my God. That's so, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah, and like I know I have a lot more characters to choose from, which is
Yeah.
making it really hard, but I do have like I'm not gonna lie, I've got a gut instinct on one.
Well, then you have to run with it.
Okay, should I go first then?
Yeah, I'm still thinking. I'm like,
Yeah. I want to preface this by saying I love all of my book children that I've created. They are all my babies.
even the
The
evil ones.
yeah, we're not just because I choose one does not mean I don't love the others. Okay? I do personally feel like I kind of popped off with Beckett for reasons why
Oh
not to.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
my soft boy bisexual who wears black earrings and jewelry, and he's just I love him so much.
And he
Um,
works at a bookstore.
at a bookstore, and he's so sweet and so cute and so understanding and beautiful about Lila's anxiety. And when I was writing the book, I just need to mention this. I was the same age as my characters when I was writing the book, so it makes sense for past Brittany, not for current Brittany. But when I was writing the book, I had dreams about Beckett and
You were in
falling in love
love.
with Beckett. I'm not gonna lie. I popped off so hard with him that I had my own little mini crush on a character that
As you
came
should.
from my own brain, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Um, but now I can appreciate him in a different way because obviously I'm now 25. He is eternally 18. Um,
That's the weird thing about it.
yeah,
If you wrote it as a teenager, now you have to like not be in love with him anymore.
I'm in love with him in a distant kind of like motherly, I created you and I love you so much kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little bit of a weird transition mind wise, but I love him. He's such a sweetie pie. He's an artist. Um, I just think he's such a sweetie, and everybody loves him who has read the book. And he's just my special little boy, and I fear that I will never be able to write a love interest that I love quite as much as him. Not to say that I don't love my other love interests. Christopher from Wim Tim, I love you dearly.
He's a superstar.
He's a superstar.
He's famous.
He's so famous. I love him.
Okay. This is like a struggle for me, like
Mhm.
for real, because obviously I feel biased towards my current cast of characters.
Yes,
But I also wrote a fantasy book over and over again for
you
years.
did.
And
You
Loki
really
had a
did.
crush as well on one of those characters. So I'm like, I mean, I was going to say Ruth, my main character of
Yes.
Ghost Book,
Mhm.
because I relate to her a lot. She's a writer. She has a podcast. Okay. Same person already. No, she's different than me though, but
You also did not
chronic
have a
migraines.
podcast when you were starting.
That's true. That's true. It developed later, guys, but
Mhm.
you know, she is similar to my age as well. Like, I guess she's me, but she sees ghosts, and I think it's really cool, and I really like the way that I connected her to the spirit world,
Mhm.
and I
Really.
just find it really interesting. Like, I'm interested to see what I could do after this book. Like, I kind of like this sort of urban fantasy, maybe, I don't know, it could be a paranormal thing.
Mhm.
Could explore it further, but I, if I'm gonna choose a cute guy from my books, I had a character, he was the cousin of my main character. But I had like multiple POVs, so he did have like a romance with one of my female characters. His name was Garrick, and he was a dragon
Sorry.
slayer.
That just
Do you
unlocked a
remember him?
memory. Yes, it unlocked a memory. I remember Garrick.
Yes, I was so like into this guy. And the
Mm,
thing is, how I don't even remember how old he was. I think he was at least 19.
mm.
So, I was a teenage girl writing this, so I was allowed to have a crush on him.
Yeah, we have to
But
preface this.
he was cool because he kind of had like fame in my fantasy world because he like did slay this big dragon like that was causing all
Mm.
these problems.
He
So
was
he
notorious.
he was a warrior. He was. So, he
Oh.
was kind of like a best friend of my main character and like
Mhm.
mentor, and he really cared about his family. So I just really liked writing him several times because, dear Lord, I wrote that book a couple times, but he always was one of my favorite parts because they can kind of go on a quest and he's just always there and like helping her do do what she has to do. So I don't
Cute.
know, he was cute.
I bet he was. I don't remember if you ever told me what he looked like. I'm sure you did, but I
He's
remembered the name.
blonde. He's blonde. And that's not even usually. Let's give
Mm.
him a Austin Butler blonde, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah, because I mean, he's a muscular Dragon's Land man. So,
You know how much I love Austin Butler.
yeah, I feel like that's a good fan cast for that character. But one day, I hope, like, because I thought about it before, if I could make it an adult like fantasy moment and just switch a lot of things up, that guy would be a good character. That's
I
all I'm
love
saying.
amazing.
Which it's interesting because right now, like the moment for dragons is like, oh, we love dragons because of Fourth Wing. Like people are riding
Mm.
the dragons. My bitch ass was like, let me kill the dragon. My character
Is
kills
that like the
dragons.
equivalent of like killing a cat in a
I
book?
mean,
No one wants to see a dead cat.
for yeah, because I mean, dragons are cool. I will say. So it's kind of depressing, but I'm like, what a badass character to be able to slay a dragon. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Mm. Yeah,
Just saying.
fair enough. I think
Hmm.
there's room for it all, you know? Yeah. Okay. The next question, the last question for this episode is how do you tackle the second act? I usually know how my story starts and ends, but I always get lost in the middle. Do you have any advice for actually connecting those dots?
I'm the worst person to ask.
Me too. I'm sorry, but I felt like this was fitting because we were talking about writing advice and they were specifically asking for advice.
No, it is fitting. I feel like, yeah, horrible person to ask. I do not know what I'm doing as well. And a big piece of this revision is beefing up the second act with
Yeah.
different, I need to add more clues. I need to add just more shenanigans in general because it's supposed to be the delivery of the premise of the book.
Yeah. Promise of the
It
premise.
it's supposed to be, fast-paced and interesting, and I feel like most people seem to struggle the most with that section. Like you write your first
Yeah.
15,000 words and then you're like, "Wait."
It is
Oh.
called the murky middle for a reason.
Mm,
I think if I had to give advice, I mean, I think I would need to specifically know more things. Like, do you outline it all? Do you like have you already written the book and now you're revising and trying to figure it out? But I think my general advice, and that's it's just coming from me personally, this is just what I do. I love Save the Cat, writes a novel, and I think that reading writing craft books on plot structure and story structure is super helpful to know what is supposed to go in that part of the book. Maybe, looking at some of your favorite books and seeing how those middles are crafted. I think it's a good rule of thumb to like think of it maybe like a bouncing ball. Like you gotta have lots of ups and downs. Make sure you're putting lots of conflict in there. It's not just like a straight line of bad or a straight line of good. Um,
mhm.
Making sure it's like a balance of, the bouncing ball going up and down
Yeah,
and.
that's a good analogy.
Thank you. I don't know if I made that. I don't think I made that up. I think I took that from somewhere, but
I will give it to you. I'll
sure,
say you
thanks.
created it. But that's
Thanks.
good advice because honestly, before using tools like Save the Cat, I mean I had no idea where to even start, to be honest. Like you'll have
Hmm.
a couple solid ideas, but like this
Yeah.
is the biggest chunk of the book. So
Hmm.
it's
It is.
easy to run into the roadblocks very quickly
Yeah,
on
I
how
think
to
it's
make.
also easier with like a structure, like a beat sheet, of breaking it down into those little beats and not thinking it of like one huge thing. I also know that some people prefer to break it up into a four act structure as opposed to a third act structure. I know like Cat from Catty-tastic, throwing it back here for a minute.
Oh, yes.
I used to love watching her writing videos. Um, I know that she prefers to break down her books into a four-act structure. So the middle, which is typically Act Two, would be broken down then into Act Two and Act Three, and then the ending
Mm,
would be Act Four. So it's separated there. So I think that could potentially also be helpful to just kind of break it up in your mind. Like it's not going to make a difference to the reader. It's not really, it's all in our heads and how we just like view our story. But maybe that could help. I just love story structure. I love Save the Cat.
hmm It's definitely the most helpful um resource that I've had. And
Mhm.
I just saw a horror version has come out. I think
Ooh.
it's like focused on screenplay, but the original like Save the Cat
Mhm.
also was.
Mhm.
So I want to read that. I
Oh
feel
my
like
god,
that'd be
do it.
super helpful. Like, yeah, I almost bought it, but this one was pretty cheap. That one was like $22 for like a
Oh,
paperback.
that's cheap
So
for Canada, but the exchange
for
rate.
me, it was not. I was like, okay, it is on like Kindle Unlimited, but I just, for something like that, I like to highlight and like get physical with it. So I
Can't you highlight
prefer,
in your
yeah, I'll
same?
probably have to do that because I'm not about to pay $22.
I mean, you could always like start it, and then if you realize that it's really, really helpful, then maybe
Mhm.
you'll feel okay or ask for it for Christmas or something.
You're right. I
Make
should
Caden buy it
get
for
a
you.
taste, you know, get a taste
Mhm.
of it and see if I do think it'd be helpful,
Yeah.
and then ask for it for Christmas. That's a good idea.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mhm.
I'm full of good ideas, apparently.
Yes. Well, dang, we did it, I think.
Yes.
All the writing advice ever was in this episode. So y'all better have watched to the end. Thank you guys so much for watching,
Thank
and
you.
we will see you sometime again with another one.
Bye.
Bye.